I think Penn has a very healthy view of AI. It's going to change every field. I love hearing my counterparts in physics and medicine, psychology, English, music, talk about the application of AI in their fields.
My research is in cosmology, so I'm interested in questions about the initial conditions of the universe, where the expansion of the universe is headed. The tools of AI help us accelerate our computation a great deal. And that's a big deal because that's the difference between being able to answer a question or not at all in a human lifetime.
We have a scientist, Dr. Rafe Macbeth, who's been working on a methodology with his team that can, in that initial visit, use AI to analyze the scan, identify where the radiation should be, and do it in that visit, which to me is transformational. Like, who with cancer wants to come in and get evaluated and then go home and wait for a week or two before treatment? And so I think we're gonna see AI used in that patient-provider interaction space a lot more.
In my lab, we study the role and impact of social media and AI on gun violence. And then we use the center, the Penn Center for Inclusive Innovation and Tech, to translate those findings. We needed a strategy to find and identify millions of tweets. And so one way in which we did that is to use a machine learning to identify content associated with violence. But then once we started to dig deeper, we realized that there was a bigger story there, and that perhaps AI could help us to predict language and patterns of communication that might tell us something more about violence.
AI in general, and deep fakes in particular, have a potentially transformative effect on American democracy and the way we think about free speech. And so we actually see this as an enormous problem, and that's very real. In many ways, that's why we have created the new Penn Center on Media, Technology, and Democracy, conducting empirical research on the impact of digital technologies on democratic processes right now.
What is safe when we talk about using AI in society? What's the threshold of safety? That's a difficult question to answer. It needs getting people to sort of come together and have a discussion as to what is safety, because that then will guide subsequent development for us as to how to design safer forms of AI systems that society can tolerate.
My initial step into AI was through a program called Warren Analytics Fellows at Penn. Working with a large company through the project, we were able to create a chatbot, essentially like a GPT, but specialized for their business. So this GPT would look at all the data that the company has in their databases and then provide responses based on that data.
We can take data of all kinds of types, create numeric content from that, and then use that into predictive models. Everything we do, whether it's responding to customers, analyzing customer data, creating new content, a great place to start is using large language models.
One of the ways that Penn GSE is leading in this space is we are the first Ivy League institution to offer an online learning analytics and AI degree. It'll be a master's degree. These are going to be students who are learning online across the globe. How do we think about learning analytics and AI from an education perspective? And I think it's going to be incredibly exciting for us to see how this grows, and we will constantly be revamping the curriculum to make sure we're keeping up with AI as AI grows.
It's not enough to just train students on the technology side if they're going to be using it in city government or public policy decision making, right? They really also need to understand the context. So I think getting folks together who understand both sides, both the problems and the technology, is the sweet spot.
The ethical dilemmas related to AI is a really, really important thing that we focus on. Many of our students are already receiving formal training in ethics. It's a part of their programs. What that training does is it gives our students a really solid and nuanced understanding of ethical theory, of the different ways in which one can approach ethical questions, and then with that really solid theoretical foundation, work on applying that in their lives.
As an educator, I think what gives the most pleasure is just to see the success of our students. The research is actually done by our students and postdocs. And the daily interactions and learning and discovery and seeing their career progression and how they become leaders in their field. I think it's something that also gives me extreme pleasure.
Penn has this idea of the interdisciplinary research, and like a lot of universities do say it, but I think that Penn actually executes on it. Right now, we're collaborating with some people in the med school, and we're trying to build a better vision language model for X-rays. We're trying to incorporate the knowledge from doctors to the AI models themselves to make them better.
There are open questions in robotics, open questions in biology, and I think like having this type of mindset in providing the facilities, the people around us with expertise, and the compute power gives a very nice hope that academia will be involved, and especially Penn, in the forefront of AI in the future.
Through the formation of the AI Council, which has happened through our Provost's office, it got us to get together and say, what's common among we're trying to share and do? We all know we need large-scale computing, so obviously Penn is investing in PARC.
PARC is the Penn Advanced Research Computing Center. It is the hardware capacity to double the compute capabilities on campus at the University of Pennsylvania. Having access to supercomputers lets researchers at the University of Pennsylvania work on problems that are a decade out so that we can do that forward-thinking research.
Nature abhors a vacuum. And so you find a lot of different actors rushing in to try to regulate and create laws to govern AI without a framework of what's important and how to think about it conceptually. I think policy making really flounders when there's not actually the discipline of frameworks created by academics. I think we have a lot of work to do here with respect to AI, but I think it's critical work.